Adobe Illustrator, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 4. This should be Part D. I neglected at the end of the last session to say that you need to get your selection tool. Select both of the court pieces and go to Object, Group, so that they're ready to be used when we get to them. Now we're going to go to our artboard navigation. I'm on page 129. And we want to go to the inside piece. So if you double click on that, you will open up directly to the inside section of the artboard. If we go to the layers panel now, which is behind the artboard, you are next going to click the visibility column to the left of the net layer to make it visible. And now click the eye to the left of the background layer, which is going to hide that content. That's going to make this a little bit easier to see. We're going to create a net for the basketball hoop that's already on the board. So click to select the triangle and go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and then select Pucker and Bloat. Pucker and Bloat is kind of a fun toy. Pucker and Bloat will take and let's click on preview so we can see. We'll pull in and push out an object. So you can get some really weird, bizarre, great shapes by puckering and bloating. So back to the 0 on pucker and bloat, and we're going to do approximately a minus 20%, somewhere in through there. 20, 23, 24, somewhere in through there. It doesn't even matter exactly. And that's going to distort the triangle. Click OK on that. So now if we pick up both the triangle and the circle, that's going to select both of them. And I'll go to Object, Transform, and we want to rotate. Now for this, with the dialog box that comes up, we're going to make this, you can either type it in or you can actually click and rotate on the circle to approximately a 30%, 30-degree angle. I mean, 25, oh, it's hard to get the 30. So yeah, you don't have to be right. Once you click on that to select it, you can just drag your mouse out and that'll give you a little bit easier control over it. And we're going to click copy. Now, copying that is going to duplicate it. If we go now, we can repeat this without having to do this over and over again, the same thing. Transform again is going to repeat exactly what we did. And you can also use the shortcut keys, which is Control D or Command D on the Mac, and that's going to do it one more time. So it's kind of like, wow, that kind of worked out pretty good. Made a nice little duplication, triplication of this. So now if we deselect, you can either go to select, deselect, or you can click off. We're going to drag across the edge of the circle to select all of the copies and press delete. So we just want to pick up that circle that's in there. It was just there kind of for a guide. There we go. And you're going to delete that. And now we're going to pick up all those triangles that we copied and transformed and go Object and group that. And now we're going to move that down onto the basketball hoop and visually align center them. I'm going to just click on those and I'm going to drag straight down. In fact, I'm going to hold my Shift key. Come on. Click. Selects all of them. drag, and I'm going to drag straight down. And just kind of get them as close to center as you can. And when you do that, then we're going to change our stroke color from red to white. We had it red so we can see it. And when we put the visibility back on the background layer, just click on, there we go. Now you can see the lines because of the gray background. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is apply a free distort effect to a piece of artwork. Going back to our artboards, we're going to click on the back artboard, and we have our basketball net that we resized earlier. So now we're going to go to Effect, and again the Distort and Transform, but this time we're going to do Free Distort. Now the Free Distort box, I'm going to drag it off to the side so you can see what happens to it, lets us drag different parts. So we're going to drag the lower left point down and way off to the side, which is going to move. Oh, I guess I don't think I had that. Let me cancel that. I don't think I selected that first. There it is. I forgot to select. That's why nothing was working. Effect, Distort and Transform, Free Distort. Now, there, that's better. Now when I drag this out, come on. Well, that's interesting. There we go. I'll drag this up. Now let me see if I can click that. There it goes. Just being stubborn. Pull it down, and that distorts the net. And once I do that, and I like what I've got, I'll say OK. And now the net is going to move, but the points are actually still staying where they are. It's not changing the, it's an effect, so it's not changing where everything is. We can actually go back in and release the effect, but that's what we get out of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to rotate the object. An object, I should say. You rotate objects by turning them around the designated reference point. And there's lots of ways to do this. You can do it from very precise to freeform. So we're going to work with that basketball that we placed earlier. So we're going to the front page, double click on front, that brings that up. So select the basketball and Alt and drag. So hold down your Alt button, click on this. When you hold on your Alt button, you're going to get the double-headed arrow, and take that and click and drag. If you're on the Mac, it's going to be Option. So we're holding that down. Go up and a little to the left to make this arch kind of thing going. And then when you release it, you're going to, and it's not really going to matter exactly where you place it, just as long as it's up and to the left. Release the mouse before you release your Alt button. And then just off the upper, one of the upper corners, and you're going to get that double-headed arrow that's got a corner, and drag in a counterclockwise. So just rotate up. That gives you the rotation. Now, I'm going to undo. Control Z will undo. The information box is going to give you the degrees, and you're going to rotate up somewhere around 15 degrees so that you get a decent rotation on it. Doesn't have to be exact. And now we're going to use the next time we do this, we're going to use the rotate tool, and this can be a little bit different from rotating with the selection tool. So again, you're going to hold down your Alt button, click and drag, so up and over again to the left, and you can kind of put it where those little bumps are, and that will work just fine as a guide. There you go. And now we're going to do another rotation. Remember, you released your mouse before you release your before you release the modifier key. So now we're going to pick up the rotation tool. If it's not, it might still be hidden under your reflection tool. So if it is, you have to hold on the reflect tool and you'll get the rotate up. So I've got the rotation tool again, and now the rotate around point in the center of the basketball comes up. The rotate tool lets you rotate the object around a different reference point. If you can remember, we rotated like that with that piece on the bottom, the basketball court. But this time you're just going to click off to the side, click and drag to make your rotation. Again, you're going to get the amount of rotation coming up in your dialog box. So we want about another 15 degrees on this. And so then release. Now we're going to rotate each basketball in place using the transform each command. So with the selection tool, you're going to, again, back to the selection tool, we're going to again click on and do Alt, then click and drag on that basketball and drag up again. We're going to put that in that next little slot. Okay. And that's our final copy. Release the mouse button, release the modifier key, and now double click the rotate tool. The last rotation should be in place. It should be somewhere around 15 degrees. You can make this one exactly 15 degrees, backspace, and say OK to that. And it will rotate precisely the 15 degrees. Okay, next you're going to just go ahead and file, save, make sure that you've got this saved where you're at. Got enough time, I think, to do a shear. Shearing of an object is going to slant it or skew it along whatever axis you specify. So now we're going to copy a piece of art and we're going to put a shear to it. So the next thing I want you to do is do View, Fit All in Window, and then you're going to zoom out. Remember, that's Control or Command and your minus key. So we zoom out a couple of times and we're getting the artwork that we had down below. And we're going to select the grouped content that's below that first artboard. Get your selection tool, click on that, and go Edit and Cut. Now, make the 3 back the active artboard and select the net that we placed up there and go to Object, Hide Selection to make that hidden, and now select my active artboard and let me zoom into that. Let me double click. Now I will edit and paste. And now that's pasted it into the place where it's supposed to be. Okay. Now start dragging this group up. And as you go, you're going to press your Shift key to constrain the movement and drag it up until it's fairly close to the top. Come on, click. Click first, then hold down your mouse. And we want to have this just above, a little bit above the word City Arena. Now we're going to go Object, Ungroup, and then click off to the side to deselect it.